Hello and everyone, welcome to Game 4 in a series. Strelok spawning as the teal Terran versus Elfi spawning as the red Protoss. Game 4 in a series between these two players. And so far, Elfi taking a commanding 2-1 lead in this Terran versus Protoss matchup. Now, we are talking about close spawning locations by air. Strelok at the 6 o'clock position, Elfi at the 8 o'clock position, so we'll see what comes down in between these two particular openings. Elfi should have a very easy time expanding or trying to do any sort of opening. I'm expecting a 1 gate into a robotics facility just because Banshees is a possibility based upon the relatively close spawning locations and the close flying distances. Strelok is opening up with a low ground supply depot here, and once again, Elfi getting lucky and will be able to scout out his opponent very quickly. And by scouting out his opponent very quickly, he may be able to put in a lot more pressure this time around. Alright, we'll see what's going to go down here as there is an SCV and a probe now battling it out. We are going to be getting a gateway back over here, and we'll see what Elfi tries to open up with. He is currently he slowed down his probe production for just a little bit, got his gateway out just a little bit earlier, and now chrono boosting out even more probes. We'll see if he goes for a cybernetics core before a gateway once again, and if he does do that, that does indicate that he should be trying to go for some sort of 4-gate tech. Probe now wandering around back on the inside of Strelok space once more. The shield should naturally start regenerating. There they go. He does see that a refinery is being built. The probe now essentially back up to full hit points. Should be able to go toe-to-toe against a new SCV. SCV taking a little bit of damage. And now that probe once again backing off. A Marine should be added in here in just a second. Supply depot should be added over here as well, as Strelok going into 17/19. In order, before upgrading to orbital command, we'll see how that works out for him. An SCV now trying to push back this one probe as a Marine now going to be added as well. There is one pylon back over here, and I'm interested to see what Elfi is going to do with this one pylon. Cybernetics core about halfway completed. There is a lot of energy. It looks like it was a core before this pylon. Once again, he was supply blocked for a little bit of time there. The SCV, I believe, does not spot that additional pylon. He does see the double gas, though. And now a Stalker will be added, chrono boosting out that Warp Gate tech. And what will Elfi be doing in this time around? We are training up some early Marauders and getting that concussive shell. I believe Strelok will be adding in another barracks as well right behind this, allowing himself to be playing a little bit more defensively, perhaps getting some bunkers on the low ground in order to push back any Stalker harassment. One Marauder has been added. A second Marauder may be added as well, as an SCV simply going to walk back home. Elfi now returning with this one Stalker, and now we'll see what Elfi tries to do in this location here. It looks like Elfi perhaps trying to intercept any Reapers, but there are not going to be any, I spoke too soon, a Reaper now being added by Strelok, as we also need to see another supply depot. It looks like Strelok may become supply blocked once again, now sitting at 27/27. With no supply depot being built. Now, Marine, Marauder, and SCV are on the move. One Marauder over here as well. It looks like the Stalkers are going to be able to put in a lot of, or be able to get in some easy damage, perhaps onto this Marauder, if this Marauder gets a little bit too close. And it does get a little bit too close, eating, or already taking 28 points of damage there, as a third Stalker now being added. And now Strelok knows that he cannot really do all too much there. Now sitting at 29/35, as 3 Stalkers are now on the low ground. The Marauders and the Marines looking for that probe. See that the probe is now returning home. And now we are getting a bunker over here. So one bunker up over here at the natural expansion should be able to push back any of these Stalkers, as we are now going into an additional gateway. And Elfi really hasn't done all too much. He has a rather large army, and in come the Stalkers. Now Marauders are trying to engage here. One Stalker does get destroyed. Marine and Marauders are trying to fight back and forth. Is it going to be enough? This Marauder now trying to return it home. Will he be able to jump inside? No, unable to jump inside that bunker, as the Marines are now in from the safety of that bunker. Should be able to push back that attack. 450 lost by Elfi. Meanwhile, 250 lost by Strelok. So Strelok still in a little bit of a lead. as his command center already upgrading to an orbital command. He does have the benefit of being able to call down mules in just a moment. 27 compared to 25 as a Reaper now jumps into the main base, but quickly getting cleaned up by some sentries. Oh, we can see that I believe the robotics facility or a Stargate was canceled there, so Elfi now changing up his strategy. What did Strelok see? Strelok saw another building. I believe he saw a robotics facility warping in, or perhaps a Stargate, and now it in fact is going to change to a 5-gate pressure, perhaps even a 6-gate pressure, and that is going to be perhaps a very nice tech switch, as more sentries are now being added as well. The sentries are going to be very effective at perhaps pushing this front door. These Marauders and these Marines trying to fight in the safety of those bunkers are not going to have any SCV support, as those sentries are going to be able to push back those SCVs with force fields. Now, probes are just traveling back down here onto the low ground. What will be happening as more sentries have been added once again, now currently sitting on 6 sentries. That is a lot of sentries to be had. 47 compared to 60. A lot of production buildings. Another warp gate about to be completed as we are warping in additional units as well. A proxy pylon back over here. Elfi looking to lay down the pressure once more. And Strelok sitting on a rather small army. Less than half of his opponent right now, less than a third of his opponent, as some Marauders and Marines have just been completed. A Marauder now pushing off to the front, and he is going to be unwelcomely greeted by a very large army of Stalkers, Sentries, and Zealots, and that poor Marauder has been destroyed. Are the Marauders going to be able to fight back here? That is going to be the key question. SCVs coming off the mineral line to try to repair, unable to do so, now repairing from the front instead, and this may save Strelok, but SCVs are getting destroyed anyhow, and this is not looking good. Force fields have just finished there, and now the sentries are deciding to back off. A little bit of a lucky play by Strelok to spot this incoming pressure, and now perhaps this bunker needs to unload perhaps one Marine in order to add an additional +1 range onto the Marauders, as the Marauders have a range of 7 from inside a bunker as opposed to the Marines' only range of 6. Stalkers looking to push in once again. The Stalkers are now backing off, and the Nexus is now going to get 2 additional assimilators, as well as Elfi looking to transition, and this may hurt Strelok a little bit more. Strelok now looking to perhaps bolster up his army as opposed to constantly training up SCVs. He is currently training up 2 SCVs at a time, and now going into a reactor starport play as SCVs are now being transferred to the low ground. Overall, 37 harvesters compared to 44. You can see Marauders and Marines are pushing out. It looks like they are going to be destroying this proxy pylon over here. The SCV will spot it. The Marauders and the Marines, however, are not going to be destroying it. Spoke too soon. Now that Strelok wants to push in and try to take this down. Level 1 weapons upgrade has been completed for the infantry units. We are now going to be getting the armor upgrades as well. Meanwhile, Psystorm now going to be in the near future, as the Templar Archives about to be completed. A Marauder now going to try to intercept this probe. This probe very slow with that concussive shell. And now this Marauder going to activate this Zelnaga Watchtower. This poor Marine now gonna just sit off in the very, very front location here. Perhaps activating the Zelnaga Tower would be better. We are going to be getting more pylons, so Elfi going to be able to see any drop well before it comes in. Meanwhile, Psionic Storm about 60 to 70 seconds away, and we should be getting some High Templars as well in order to slowly gather up that energy. 2 High Templars already in position, another High Templar now being added. I do not see a Ghost Academy just quite yet, so no EMP Shockwave. I don't believe that Elfi actually, or I don't believe Strelok actually saw those High Templars there. Strelok does have a decent group of Marines off to the front, and I believe there is going to be a drop in the back as well, and this 2-pronged drop is not going to work out well, as the Stalkers are already in position, and this is just going to be really bad here, taking a little bit of damage onto that medevac, but a push now happening in from the front isn't going to be enough, as more Marauders and Marines are filing in from the back. There is a decent amount of High Templars, though. I don't believe that Strelok will be able to split the army as well as he wants to, but perhaps he'll be able to get down some of these easy buildings that are on the edge. One pylon does get destroyed. The warp gates are currently unpowered, and now in comes a push from the front door. Marauders and the Marines have to be very careful, though, as those High Templars do have enough for, I believe, 3 to 4 Psystorms, maybe even 5, depending on the balance. or depending upon the spreading of the energy. You can see Elfi now also establishing a nexus off over here, transitioning in even further, and the medevac is going to spot that there is already a proxy pylon there. Command center also being built over here. A lot of energy saved up for some reason by Strelok. Finally going into a Ghost Academy. He definitely needs those ghosts. Army compositions much larger by Terran. Will he be able to put down enough pressure, or will the High Templars be too much? The Marines and the Marauders going to perhaps be unable to finish off, as the Zealots do have charge. One poor medevac will get destroyed. Down it goes, as the Marauders and the Marines never really found a time or a flank or an angle to try to engage. The Marauders now trying to push in, and in comes a Psystorm. Psionic Storm across multiple units there. A little bit of damage absorbed and eaten up by the Zealots as well, as a Psystorm now pocketing many of those Marauders, and so much damage as those Marauders and the Marines were unable to run away. It looks like one Archon will quickly get destroyed before it is able to finish merging, but a lot of the damage was already dealt. One pylon now going to get destroyed here. Elfi now perhaps going to cancel this Nexus. No, not going to cancel. Zealots are now quickly going to charge into this battle here. The Marauders and the Marines trying to stutter step their way away, but the Zealots with that charge able to get in so much damage, as the High Templars are now bringing up the rear. If the Marauders do not continue to run, they will get eaten up by those Zealots, Stalkers, and those High Templars with Psystorm. And things are not looking good, as Elfi now moving in, and it looks like this will be game 4. Things not looking good for Strelok at all, as Strelok is behind. He is establishing his third base after the Protoss player, and his Protoss opponent definitely has an advantage, as he does have a 12 worker advantage and also harvesting from the gold mineral patches. One Zealot on the back door here may be able to take down those rocks. The Zealots are not upgraded at all. Soon to be 1-1 upgraded. Meanwhile, the Marines and the Marauders looking to go for another drop. They are currently already 1-1 upgraded. More medevacs coming into position as well. And what is Strelok going to be doing with these Marauders and these Marines? It looks like there is still a nice welcome party over here by Elfi. High Templar, one High Templar, enough to get off a Psystorm. Marauders and Marines now attempting to destroy these destructible rocks. Orbital Command already finished upgrading, so as soon as Strelok is able to perhaps call in some mules, he may be able to catch up economically, but he is still behind many harvesters, even though his army is of decent size. The medevac, where is that medevac drop? I haven't seen it just quite yet. Oh, back over here behind the mineral line. Probes are getting destroyed, but in comes a Psystorm. Zealots are now getting destroyed as well. The Archon's unable to make it back there, and Elfi doing a great job with this double medevac drop. Zealots are now trying to come in, and the lower hit point medevac may get sniped down. This is not looking good. And is it going to be enough? More and more Zealots are coming back in, but in comes a drop once again. Is the medevac, yeah, going to come back in, and now more Marauders and Marines, as there is another push over here. Strelok doing a great job splitting up the armies, and now all of these High Templars are once again out of position, as the Zealots are able to warp in straight into the battlefield to try to intercept this. We are going into another Observer. It looks like a Marine, a Probe trying to join in on the fight. This Zealot should be able to finish this off, as there is no more energy on those medevacs. A lot of workers were killed, 14 workers, but it is still 61 compared to 48. And now it looks like Elfi, with 1-1 upgrades, soon to be 2-2, is ready for the counterattack. Strelok doesn't have that much over here. He doesn't have that much static stationary defense. Are the medevacs going to be able to do anything at all? And the Marauders and the Marines are not being microed. This is going to be a problem, as the Psystorm now raining in. So many Marauders just taking so much damage already, and I believe the Zealots are just going to be able to overrun this position. In comes some Psystorm here, and Elfi just catching a sleeping Strelok, as the medevacs are going to come in for another drop over here, but I think it's going to be too little, too late. Going now for a high expansion over here, perhaps double training up SCVs, but the front door, Zealots, Stalkers, and Archons already in position. There's 2 bunkers, but 2 bunkers not going to really be able to do all that much against a rather large army, and Psystorm going to be coming in. EMP Shockwave does hit, but it doesn't hit the High Templars, and oh, what an unfortunate miscue by Strelok. Multiple Psystorm, and now I believe the bunkers will be falling. A little bit of a miss micro. Medevac accidentally picking up all of those units there, and I believe that will be the GG, as Elfi is going to push in on this natural expansion. The Ghost Academy will be destroyed. The Marines and the Marauders over here once again on the move. It looks like Strelok trying his best to salvage this game, perhaps hoping that Strelok's going to be making a mistake of some sort, but Strelok with more than double the size army and with Psystorm able to constantly just push in more and more pressure. Archons are now upgraded 2-2, dealing 43 damage per attack against this massive Bio army. And there you go, the Archons now continuing to just push over here. The Marauders and the Marines do have stim, but there's so much damage to be just dealt by this one Archon. And I believe they're going to finally get cleaned up here, but there was a lot more worker kills, 16 workers compared to 46. Mules now being called into play over here. It looks like Strelok not even upgrading this to an orbital command, and as these Zealots going to finish off these Marines, the Marines backing off once more, but really not that large of an army, as Strelok now really only mining off of one base. He does have a lot of, 6 mules at the gold mineral patches, a very strong mineral economy right now, but will he be able to translate that as there are so many Zealots and High Templars in the field? The Ghost have not really been able to do anything. He hasn't been able to get off those EMP shockwaves to deny the energy on those High Templars. And those High Templars with Psystorm have really been causing a problem for Strelok. Strelok now, once again, does have a little bit of a standing army. He is training up more units, 5 Marauders, 1 Marine. Is it going to come out in time as the Zealots may simply just swarm and surround this one orbital command in just a matter of seconds? Another command center going to be landing off over here as what the Mules are trying to just run all the way back home. Orbital command should be lifting off. Not quite sure why it is not doing that. Finally doing so, the Stalkers are not going to be able to shoot it down as they stop. 42-25, 32-50. Strelok only with 1-1 upgrades right now. I believe that, the Protoss army now with 2-2. And those Ghosts have not really been able to slow down those High Templars in this matchup. Just perhaps a little bit of miss micro. There is one Ghost. He does have enough for 2 EMP shockwaves. He wants the EMP shockwave these High Templar, but without Cloak, he is not going to be able to do that. Even if he does have Cloak, there is one observer outside the front of his base revealing it, and then it might just get feedbacked anyways. Orbital command now once again going to try to reestablish itself. Still an uphill battle for Strelok, unless Elfi now transitioning into Colossi, and with no Vikings, even if those EMP shockwaves do hit and land well, it is not going to work out. I believe the Ghost did not get an EMP shockwave off at all. There was the Observer. The Observer did scout it out in time. One EMP shockwave perhaps, but it misses its target. And now in comes perhaps the last battle. A Psystorm should be raining in Colossus. More Psystorm just taking down multiple units. And wow, so much damage. So much damage. And there is the GG by Strelok. Acer Elfi winning this best of 5 series 3-1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.